going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Sav Show. My name is Savilian. I'm the host of this show. And today I'm talking about accepting responsibility. So over the weekend, UFC 295 took place. Jiří Procházka versus Alex Pereira for the vacant light heavyweight belt. Now, Pereira ends up winning the fight, becomes a two-weight class champion. And at the time, there was some controversy about the stoppage. Now, this is where I want to kind of start to talk about responsibility. So, Joe Rogan gets in there, does his post-fight interview with Jiří Procházka, and the first question he asks is about the stoppage. You know, was it a little bit, because him and Cormier, upon first review, were under the impression that it was potentially a little bit of an early stoppage. And straight away, Jiří Procházka and, the MMA guru calls him a Chad for saying this, and I totally agree. Jiří Procházka straight away goes, no, look, I was out. It was fine. However, I am a warrior kind of thing. I'm never going to stop fighting. Even if I die, I'm never going to stop fighting. But the decision to stop the fight was actually correct. And he just copped it on the chin straight away. Now, in that situation, you've just lost the world title. You're coming back after a year layoff from a very serious injury. You still got the kind of blood running. You're in the middle of the octagon. You're being interviewed by Joe Rogan after you've just lost the fucking fight. You would imagine that in that circumstance, you could, under controversial circumstances as well, losing. You could imagine in that circumstance that people are going to say things potentially that they don't want to say or that they don't mean. And, they might say, yeah, it was probably called a bit early or, go along with that narrative. But no, Jiří Procházka just took it on the chin. All me, my fault. I'm going to come back stronger. And I just thought it was so boss. It was so gangster, and it was such a true example of a martial artist. And obviously that's what Jiří prides himself on. But to be able to, execute that kind of performance in the post-fight interview, I just thought was, amazing. Obviously, dude fights like a proper ninja warrior. Striking is crazy. Like his whole everything, the way that he flows in the cage is just so fun to watch. But hearing him kind of articulate that in the post-fight press, in the post-fight interview was amazing. And it kind of reminded me, so the very next day, I go to read my daily Stoic, which I try to read every single day. And November 12th, which was the morning after the fight, the entry said, "The strong accept responsibility. The buck stops here. We don't control things outside that sphere, but we do control our attitudes and our responses to those events." And I just thought that was so fitting. After Jiří gets in there and kind of like totally just takes it on the chin. It was all me. It was all my fault. And I thought it was very fitting to read that entry the day after Jiří kind of does such a brilliant job of representing himself and martial artists as a whole. And just a reminder that to myself and to everyone, I say this all the time, and it's a mantra that I try to repeat to myself is run toward the pain. The more you can increase your awareness around these things, the more you can, raise your own responsibility levels and just, take everything absolutely on the chin, extreme ownership. The more you can do that, the more control you actually have. Right. So you obviously don't want to be accepting responsibility for everyone's problems and everyone's failures. But you can always be accepting responsibility for your own. And in any way, shape or form. I try to make it I've tried to make it a habit in more recent times that if someone has a problem with something I do or have done, I don't try to fight anymore. I don't try to argue. I just go, okay, yep. Yeah, okay, sure. Not to be dismissive, but like either A, they're right and I have fucked up and I can figure that out at a later date, or B, they're wrong and there's no point trying to change their mind unless I like genuinely have to defend myself or like, I genuinely feel like there's actual reason to defend myself, but I am seldom going to talk back or retort because it's just unnecessary. I would rather just accept responsibility, extreme ownership, figure it out later. Either I fucked up or they're wrong, in which case there's no point trying to, prove them wrong. It's just like, see it for what it is, analyze what I need to analyze, and then get on with it. But yeah, the concept of accepting responsibility is something that I kind of shied away from for a really long time in my life. And so to kind of be at a point in my life where I am starting to accept responsibility for things, I am starting to own my shit, and just being in control it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful thing, and I love it, and I'm loving more and more of it. Not always getting it right, but for the most part getting it right, and that's a cool feeling. And yeah, brilliant entry in the Daily Stoic, and brilliant example of that by Jiří Procházka, under incredibly, testing circumstances, to just get on the mic and go, nah, fair enough, that was me. I'll get better. I'll own it. I'll be back next time. Bro speaks like the goddamn Terminator, a ninja version of the Terminator. But yeah, very stoic, very good representation of what it is to be a disciplined martial artist, and to accept whole responsibility for your craft and your ability to protect yourself and fight. And yeah, he knew that he got caught. He knew that he was probably getting put out. Pereira is probably not stopping from that position. So yeah, probably a fair stoppage in the end. And actually, the more that I think about it, the more commentary I've heard, the more I'm leaning toward that being, it looked a bit weird. And MMA Guru brings this up. Mark Goddard has a propensity to kind of make things look a bit, controversial, even when they don't have to be. And so, yeah, but in the end, loses to Pereira. Pereira becomes a two weight class champion, not the double champ at the same time, but two weight class champion, and just keeps proving people wrong. Like, that dude is an absolute beast. And I feel for Jiří, because I feel like he looked pretty good, and I feel like he will come back stronger next time. But yeah, what an incredible card it was. 295, UFC 295, great knockouts, great fights. They were all bangers. Tom Aspinall getting a win. They're all great. Anyway, that's it for me for the Sav Show. That's just my little take on responsibility and extreme ownership, and accepting responsibility for your own shit, and just copping it on the chin and going, do you know what? Yep, that was me, but I'll come back. I'll be better. I'll be stronger. I'll find a way. And Jiří Procházka was a great example of that at UFC 295 over the weekend. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Big Sav signing out. The People's Champ signing out. If you like my podcast, please subscribe. Link is below to grab my weekly newsletter, The Sunday Sav. Check out the music. Leave a comment. Leave a review. Whatever you want to do. Boo. That's me freestyling. But yeah, that's it. I'm signing out. Big Sav. See you next week on The Sav Show. Let's go.